Hey guys, SoCal Val here. You are listening to the Hitting the Turnbuckle podcast.
Welcome everybody back to the Hitting the Turnbuckle podcast. No, you're not mistaken. I am hosting today's show, as you can see or hear, but I am joined by, as usual, the usual host of the shows, Mr. Burrows. Good evening.
Evening, sir. How are you, mate? It's good to mix it up every now and again. You know, these hosting duties. I had my week off or my 2 weeks off, whatever it was, and you've done a very good job, mate. So let's talk some Monday Night Raw. It was another banger.
It was the season premiere.
Oh yeah, season. Sorry, yeah.
Premiere of Raw. Let's get straight to it. It kicked off. Sami Zayn come out feeling a little bit dejected because Mr. Owens is no longer with us. And basically had a little bit to sort of say about Jey Uso, how he wasn't sure because he's a bit bittersweet. He likes Jey Uso, but there was, he was the reason that Kevin has left. That brought out good old Judgment Day, who are going to be another extremely heavy version of Monday Night Raw, when we'll get into more of that. They were saying that how they normally take pity on these people and try and recruit them, but Sami doesn't warrant that. And then they were going to attack him. Uso comes out with a chair and fends them off. So you kind of a usual start, but I'm still not sure where they're going with this, man.
Dude, this episode of Raw left me with more questions than ever, really, because just when you think we got it figured all out, the bloodline, where the storyline's going, and then you've got Sami and KO and everything that's going on with the Judgment Day. I've got a theory on the Judgment Day, which I'll get to when we get to a certain segment of this review. I think I know what's going to happen with them. As for the start, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know what's going to happen with Sami now. He mentioned, obviously, he wanted to be world champion.
Yeah.
So do they eventually, once Crown Jewell is out of the way, does he get involved in the title mix as we head closer to Survivor Series? Is there a one-on-one championship match at Survivor Series involving Seth and Sami? I might as well tell you my theory now. As we're talking about, I think Drew McIntyre joins the Judgment Day.
Oh, interesting.
That's my theory. I think he joins Judgment Day. I think he goes full on heel, but and then I think that'll eventually lead to something maybe happening with Damian Priest, that he's not there anymore, and Drew McIntyre is a full-fledged member of the Judgment Day. I've just got a funny feeling that something might happen in the next couple of weeks where they insert him into that little shenanigans of whatever's going on. But yeah, as for the start, it was a good start. But again, yeah, we're getting back to that very Judgment Day heavy Monday Night Raw. Maybe it wasn't as heavy this week. You had lots of women's matches, and which we're going to get into. But yeah, the start was interesting. I mean, what do you think is going to happen with Sami now and Drew and Judgment Day? And obviously you've got the Bloodline kind. They kind of merged everything this week. Once we'll get to the ending, and they kind of everything come full circle. So yeah, you can kind of see Survivor Series now in the distance.
It certainly is. I don't know what I'm feeling about it. It's kind of good because it does, as you say, leaves you more questions than answers, which is what you want. You don't want to be answering all the questions before they even answered them themselves. So for me, it was good. I just wonder if there was a reason why they moved Kevin. Is that something to do? No, could that come out later on? I don't know. Maybe we're being too soap opera-ish into this, and there isn't really anything.
Yeah, what's Kevin really gonna? What's he gonna do on SmackDown? Obviously, he stunned Dominic, and that was kind of that. But what does he realistically? I think somehow it's all going to be woven in. So I think you're going to see, come Survivor Series, it's going to be team whatever versus the Bloodline. You can still see Sami and KO in the same team with Jimmy, with Jey Uso. Jey Uso cost them the match. I think that whole thing comes to a head at Survivor Series. I think they potentially could be all on the same team. Jay costs him, something happens, and then you're off to the races and the Rumble, and yeah, we're on the road to WrestleMania. I was sitting there at the end of this episode thinking, apart from my Judgment Day theory, I haven't really got a clue where they're going, which is good, because sometimes with the way the world is nowadays, I think I already know half of what's going on NXT tonight, so it's good not to know. It's like kind of old school wrestling.
And interestingly enough, Roman Reigns is not on the poster Survivor Series.
Is he not?
No.
I think he'll be at Survivor Series. He was on a house show last night. LA Knight come out and whooped his ass at the end. Yeah.
He did.
He's doing house shows. Apparently he's doing the house shows all this week.
Wow. Wow. Well, it's good. It's definitely good to have the tribal chief back.
Well, let's hope he's doing the house show at the end of the month, because it's in England.
Well, it's in England, so you'd hope so, wouldn't you? You'd
Mm.
kind of think it would. One of the most craziest matches ever to kick off Monday Night Raw was next. Falls Count Anywhere between Ricochet and Nakamura. Nakamura done a little promo beforehand, but Jesus Christ, this went absolutely everywhere. We had shooting star presses off of balconies and Christ.
Into the crowd.
Yeah, did that give you a bit of like the old attitude era, old school vibe to Raw in that one, mate?
Absolutely loved this match, mate. I was watching it obviously while I was at work today. I was traveling. No, I wasn't driving. I was in the passenger seat. Yeah, I absolutely. If this was on a pay per view, this kind of match, you wouldn't be surprised. That was like WrestleMania-esque kind of match, and it was good. I think it done more for Ricochet than it did for Nakamura because Ricochet's kind of just he's been treading water, hasn't he? Let's be honest, for the last God knows how many months. It was an incredible match, a really good ending. You know, they both looked really good at it, and it kind of ended that little mini story that they were having. The table spot was good. The poor old. The only one thing I am getting a bit pissed off at, stop using the announce table so fucking much.
Yeah.
Wipe them. They must go through some tablets on there. I tell you, them bloody iPads and tablets, they get wiped off more times than anything. But yeah, it was a good match. Like you say, it was old school. Did you notice the funny little bit in Gorilla?
Oh, when he said, yeah, I did, and I can't
Did you see
remember
who
what.
was back there? The
Yeah,
Hurricane.
Hurricane. Stand back. There's a
Yeah.
ricochet coming.
There's a
Through.
ricochet coming through because
Yeah.
obviously, what's his name? Helms was
Shane Helms.
Shane Helms was sitting back in Gorilla and he was stand back. There's a ricochet coming through. Don't know how many people would have got that little reference, but I saw it. Incredible match. I did 9 out of 10 for me, mate. Old school, like you say, like we used to watch every single week, and why everyone fell in love with the Attitude Era. I loved it. The ending was good. Interesting to see what they do with Nakamura now. Where do you reckon he goes from here? And what does Ricochet do?
That is a good question. Both of them are good questions. I actually don't know. Do one or both go after Gunter? Now, Ricochet's had his matches with Gunter, hasn't he? So there's Nakamura. I suppose you can't really.
We've got Raw in Japan in what, 3 or 4 weeks, something like that. It's heading to Japan soon. I think it's before Survivor Series. Do they maybe feud him again with Seth once we don't know. It's obviously hadn't happened at Crown Jewel with Drew, etc., etc. So, you know, again, who knows where he's going to go? Intercontinental title, maybe. Would you go for the?
Yeah, have a match with Gunter though. Did Gunter feud with him when he was his face? Maybe he did.
Maybe. I don't know. Yeah, honestly, it's another one where you're like, oh, I don't know who he could really go for. Could they have some sort of qualifier tournament to see who faces Gunter at Survivor Series? You know, you've got Big Bronson Reed, you've got Ricochet, you've got Nakamura. What's his name? Choose, please. You can throw him into the
Gable.
Yeah, you got Gable. Great impression, Boris. You've got Gable that you could say you could have some sort of intercontinental title tournament for them leading up to Survivor Series, I guess, or Crown Jewel.
You could do. It'd be interesting to see where they go with that. And we'll talk in the continental titles in a minute. But did you feel this Raw had the Triple H work to it rather than the McMahon?
It had a feel good, like it flowed. Sometimes with Raw, you're like, oh, you're sitting there and don't get the one. I might have news your app, but don't know adverts for me. Sometimes it does plod along and you're like, oh my god, but it flowed. This one, like obviously 3 hours on TV. 2 hours, whatever it is, when you haven't got the adverts. The whole episode seemed to the dynamic of it was good, and that might sound a little bit geeky. Oh, what about the dynamic of a wrestling? But sometimes you do with a 3 hour show on a Monday night. You're like, oh, this is dragging. Or you have one bag segment, and then you have another one. You're like, oh my god, that's like 2 in a row. This one was really good. You were invested in all the segments and all the storylines that they were moving little pieces around. We're going to get to them, like Becky Lynch, etc., etc. You're like, oh. That makes you, like when you say all the time, that's going to make you want to watch NXT now tonight because certain things happen on Raw, and then certain things will happen on NXT tonight that me and you are going to go, oh, I've got to watch SmackDown on Friday. They've already advertised some good stuff for Friday.
All good stuff on Logan Paul.
Oh yeah, literally, I did think when I saw that, I did think of you. I was like, oh, and he's been advertised for Raw next week as well.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, amazing.
Great. Yeah, can't wait for him to be US champ.
It's probably going to happen.
It's going to happen, bro. It's going to. Can we just like get our disappointment out of the way now and save us reviewing
I'm not disappointed in the fact that because he's a good wrestler and he does do it, but I just don't like fucking influencers and YouTubers getting. I don't mind, them doing their own channels and stuff. But he's just coming into this and got a nice fat contract. But the good side of it is he can go.
Yeah, I mean, it's YouTubers. Who knows? WrestleMania 41, me and you could be there then. YouTubers are getting involved. We could. I wouldn't say no.
Well, I certainly wouldn't say no. We'll cut back to the chase. There was Chelsea Green, Piper Niven,
Oh,
Tegan Knox, Caden Chance, and there's a little promo about that. Then it led on to Piper Niven versus Natalia. Natalia, who's just about got as good a win-loss record as the Washington Commanders. Um,
we won at the weekend, mate.
I know you did. I was actually
Just
with
just about.
me and Dave were on the collision review, and I went, "There's chances like miracles do happen." I made a comment because you and Parker were both watching the game. You were winning at the time, so I said like miracles do cease, do exist. Sorry, but Piper Niven picked up the win. Was we really expecting anything else from that? Really?
Mate, the funniest bit of that match was that kid grabbing Natty's boob as she
Oh
walked
my
out.
god! Yeah,
On viral.
what a
She
lad!
brush her off as well. It's like fair play to the kid.
What a lad! What an act. Probably because he didn't get her glasses, so he's like, "I'll have a
No,
squeeze
yeah,
of it instead."
squeeze of the titties. But yeah, it was yeah, the match. I don't know. I've said this for months and months since me and you have really done. Natty, she's good for the business, but I don't know. I think she'd be better off in NXT full time myself personally because she just isn't really doing it. Like I say, like I said, what 3 or 4 weeks ago.
Yeah.
Name me a meaningful feud that you've really gone. Oh, that was a great feud with Natty Neidhart.
You can't, can you? Really?
Exactly. It's like fucking tumbleweed.
Maybe Charlotte Flair, a bit
Maybe,
one,
but even then, you know what I mean?
Oh.
She's had her day without having her day.
Yeah, literally.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
She's not going to be in like when you sit back, like when you sit here and you talk about Trish and Lita and Ivory and all them girls that you know they've all had meaningful and great careers. Don't get me wrong, I don't mean this horribly. There hasn't been one time when I can think, oh, that Natty Neidhart run was good.
Yeah.
It hasn't been. It's either been the Divas title or what we call now the Women's Championship, and that was. Didn't she have it during the pandemic for a little bit? And she, you know, she's held it for like maybe 2 weeks, and she's just been a placeholder. And she's the one that you put in the ring when you want people to be safe. There's nothing wrong with that, but fair play to her for making a career out of it. But yeah, not for me, mate.
Not for you at all. Then a little bit of a Judgment Day thing backstage before we went to the Seth Rollins Drew McIntyre promo.
Great segment.
Yeah, what a
This
great.
was Triple H. This was Triple H.
This was Triple H.
Banger.
And they made a fantastic point for once. They went back to when Rhea Ripley was talking to Drew McIntyre on Raw. Seth brought it up. They had a little tray shots of promos, little bits of back and forth. But finally, a title match that, you know, apart from the end of the Rollins Nakamura match where it got you invested because it was last man standing, I'm invested in this one without it even, you know, they're not even having a match yet.
I mean, do you think that Drew could possibly win in Saudi? Does Saudi get the cash in? That's how somehow Drew gets into the Judgment Day. Does he help with the cash in? Does something?
Or
Do they segue him?
Priest out and put Drew in because Priest fouls. I don't know.
Could do. I mean, he was very much the backstage segment. He was like to Rhea Ripley, "What are you doing? Oh, making a phone call. Oh, another one. You're making a lot of them nowadays. They're very these little nuances that they're putting into these storylines are really good. So, yeah, does Saudi Arabia get a title change?
I don't think so. I think they might get the heel turn. I don't think they'll get the title. I don't think they'll get the title change yet. Could be wrong. Stranger things have happened. We had a title change once.
A long time.
AJ Styles
beat AJ Styles at the O2 Arena, yeah, on SmackDown.
Yeah, beat Jinder Mahal. But yeah, speaking of Jinder, we'll see him later. We'll have a.
It was one for like 2 seconds on Raw. Like, he's another one. He's another one we've left in catering, by the way.
Yeah, along with Veer Mahan, he was coming so long. Jesus Christ, I wish I could do that.
He looks like Jesus Christ now. You've seen that bit.
Yeah, we'll get back onto that in a minute. The third match was actually really good, but obviously Johnny Gargano comes out the crickets like normal. There is no response.
What has happened there, by the way? That pop that he originally used to have in NXT, the early Raw days, tumbleweeds. It was a bit like what's his name, the general SmackDown on Friday, Nick Aldis. Tumbleweeds. Absolute. I don't know what's happened to Gargano or the WWE universe. Is it a case of some people are left off TV and they come back and everyone's like, "Yep, great to see you." They bought Gargano. Remember when he come back and you made the reference? Tumbleweeds.
Yeah,
it's still tumbleweeds. So again, I keep saying send them back. So you can't send everyone back to NXT.
Jesus Christ.
You're gonna have to extend that to 3 hours. But yeah, I don't know, mate. The match itself was all right. It's quite
good
enjoyable.
one.
But the crowd were dead. Crowd were gone for it, weren't they? They were dead.
Yeah, the crowd went for a nap at this point. But Kaiser's a really good wrestler. I don't think he needed Vinci to win that for him, in a sense. I think Kaiser's much good on it, much better on his own to be
Are
able
we
to.
heading to the breakup of Imperium, do you think, now? Is it slowly? It's like a slow burn at this. You can kind of
Yeah,
see it coming, but you're kind of like, are they going to do it? Because you think all these things all the time about storylines and, obviously helps him get the win. And he's told him next week. We all know the storyline going in next week that he doesn't want to see, Gunther doesn't want to see Gargano leave. He doesn't want to see him walk out the arena. He wants to see him carried out on a stretcher. But yeah, his Imperium, we kind of, Gunther's going that way, Imperium's going that way. And they've all had their little different segments and obviously promos for individuals now. I think Imperium, I think it could be done in the next couple of weeks.
could be. And Gunther will be fine on his own. So will Kaiser. Not sure about Vinci. We'll have to wait and see.
Yeah, Vinci will be, I don't know, he'll be on AEW Collision in about 9 months in front of 10 people.
Gee. Fucking hell. Becky Lynch was talking to Indy Hartwell. She wants her rematch because
Yes.
she never lost the title, which she didn't. She has a standoff. She then walks into Rhea Ripley. So could that be a little Easter egg there for what's yet to come? But we've not finished with standoffs just yet with the women, and we'll get to that in a minute. McIntyre is still banging on about losing to the Bloodline. That was the whole point of that promo. He's still annoyed at the Bloodline and everything else, and everyone's just like, just take a chill pill, Drew. This one was Sami Zayn, and he said that Sami Zayn will never be a world champion, or never has been and never will be. And so Sami Zayn has challenged him to a match next week, which McIntyre has accepted. The next match broken down into chaos. It was Rhea Ripley, Shayna Baszler, some good bits back and forth, and then I think near enough the whole women's division come out, didn't they, at this point?
Yeah, I thought Jade Cargill was going to come out season premiere of Raw and all that. I thought, I know we'll get into what happened in a minute, but I thought she was going to come out to that. And then obviously, yeah, we get to the announcement. That which really shocked me the most was that in Saudi Arabia there is going to be Rhea Ripley versus 4 other girls. That put the wrestling aside, the fact that that's even on the card is incredible and just proves what a good job WWE have done in that part of the world, because not in a million years would you think that was happening. I was listening to something on the radio today. They were talking about another version of the UFC and how their pay-per-view is going to be in Saudi Arabia, and they're going to announce like 2 or 3 women's matches and how big that's going to be for that part of the world. And they were like, oh, you're trendsetters. And I'm like, no, WWE have started this. So the fact that there's going to be 5 women on a pay-per-view in Saudi Arabia, forget the storylines aside, that is incredible for what's going on over there. And it just proves how far that things, you don't need to have all these political figures and all these wars that are going on in the world at the minute, which is atrocious.
Yeah.
And it just takes it. You've got to entertain people, and people will be like, oh, that's actually not too bad. And we don't need to have all our political views to enjoy ourselves. So for the fact that the WWE have been able to do that in a couple of weeks, I think it's incredible. But yeah, the end of the match was just absolute carnage.
It was chaos, wasn't it? You had Ripley, you had Jax, you had Zoe Stark, obviously you had Baszler. Those are the 4, the 5, and the 5th. Is that is them all, isn't it?
Yeah, that's it, mate. Yeah, you had Raquel Rodriguez, and then you had Nia Jax cutting her promo backstage after it.
Well, yeah, she interrupts the Miz, and we'll get to
that. Yeah, that's it.
So they've made the Becky Lynch Indy Hartwell match official. Xia Li gets up in Becky's face as well, wants to know why Becky continues to duck her. And as Becky turns around, there is Jade Cargill on Raw with the NXT champion.
What did I say?
So, yeah, you did. But does that mean that she goes on NXT now? Or is NXT now going to be on Raw? Because
we've said it for a few weeks now, the whole you're on here, you're on there doesn't really matter. I'm not going to get you started on the draft, because I don't think we'll ever see a draft ever again. But the whole NXT, Raw, SmackDown, call it whatever you want, the exclusivity. I mean, look at KO getting announced on SmackDown. That'll probably last all of 2 weeks, run out on Raw and help Sammy, or vice versa. I said it would make sense to put the title on. If you want her to make a big impact, Becky could issue some sort of open challenge. I mean, she's got more challenges at the minute than anything. It looks like she's going to be quite busy for the next few weeks. But if they've got any sense, Jade Cargill on her first night wrestling wins the title.
Possibly.
Just in my opinion. I think it would be good. It would get good eyes on what they want to achieve. And then she's off to the races. I mean, they've already teased what? They've had her facing up with Becky. They've had her facing up with Charlotte. They've had her straight away in with the big guns. So they've obviously got great plans for her. they've got any sense, they just do what they did with Paige when she debuted on Raw. Boom, just give her the title, and then you're off. Then you could have a great thing at Survivor Series. You could have a great thing at the Rumble, Elimination Chamber, Mania. Bam, that's a good 5 months worth of great stuff between Charlotte and Becky and all the girls that are coming up from NXT now. Good thing I like is they're elevating all these girls on NXT quite quickly now, and you're seeing them more and more. Even if it's just a backstage segment, or if there's a run-in like there was with the women's match, these NXT girls are getting more and more highlighted now on WWE. We call it main TV, even though we know that NXT is our favorite one at the minute. Yeah, it's good. I like what they're doing.
Yeah, me too. It'd be interesting to see, because obviously Bianca Belair is still to come back here, so she hasn't run into Jade Cargill yet. So we've got that as well. And then we got the meat slappers now. Gunther, Big Bronson Reed. I know, I love that one.
What a match.
This is the thing, and people again, Bronson Reed didn't necessarily get the reaction, but the match itself, there was times in that match where I was like, hang on a minute, this actually could be it. But considering these are two genuine big guys, and sometimes when you have big guys, when you see Kane and Big Show together, you think, oh Jesus, because you knew it was going to be so bad. But these two was fantastic.
It's kind of where we are with the modern big guy, if that makes sense. They can fly off the top rope. They can look at Bronson Reed's finisher, the tsunami, as Wade Barrett likes to. Yeah. Gone are the days of, like you say, Kane and Big Show, and Big Show only really when he smashed the ring up against Brock Lesnar and things like that. And, them days have gone now. I think to be the modern day big guy in the WWE, it's not what me and you were talking about on the SmackDown review last week. And Vince McMahon used to like the big guy, et cetera, et cetera. Them days are gone now. So WWE are like, look, yeah, we've got these big guys, but listen, some of the moves in that match are like, you're like, hang on a minute, Jesus, like the outside the ring stuff was incredible, like off the top rope, the superplex was amazing. You know what I mean? So the fact that they can even do that these days is incredible. And I was like you, and this is why wrestling gets you. There was times in that match I thought, no, they're not going to, and I'm thinking they might, and it got me. So that's getting us, and me and you have watched wrestling since you had hair, and I didn't have to wear glasses, as we always say. They nearly got me, and I was thinking, ooh, so maybe now Bronson Reed, the tide's turning. I think there'll be, like I said, there'll be some sort of tournament now to get involved with the IC title. But mate, what a match! Great match, 9 out of 10.
Yeah, well, a great thing you said, tsunami and tide turning as well.
Didn't even know I'd done it.
Didn't even know you're a poet, and you don't know it, and
I know.
Do stuff. There was a couple of bits backstage. Obviously, the Miz got interrupted by Nia Jax, which we kind of already mentioned. Miz is pretty much doing nothing at the minute.
Why? Do you know what? That is so annoying that they're not doing anything meaningful with him. Because back in the day, I never got the whole Miz thing. Now I think don't turn him into the Mel Natty Hart.
Yeah.
Don't just job him out for the sake of jobbing him out. He cuts great promos. He's a good wrestler. He's good for, you know what I mean? You're getting Logan Paul into the United States title mix. Why not get the Miz involved somehow? Give him something meaningful to do instead of all these stupid backstage set. Or when you want to get someone over, we'll just announce Miz TV. You just won't do anything else. That's all they do, don't they? They're like, okay, well, Sheamus needs to cut this promo. How can we get to that, but not Miz TV?
Yeah.
It is quite sad to see what they're doing with him at the minute. He could be one. I know I've said it a lot. NXT would be amazing to see him down there week after week, cutting promos, having great matches. He would be perfect for that brand. Whether he'd do it or not, I don't know. But
pretty sure it wouldn't make a difference as long as he was getting paid.
He's looking out. Like we said a month or so ago, outside the ring, that boy is winning no matter what.
He's winning in life.
He's winning in life. He probably doesn't give a toss. He's like, what, you want me to do a 10-second backstage segment and then fly home? Done.
Yeah, exactly. I think we'd all do that in respective. We go home with the Miz and to see Maurice. After that, Rhea Ripley was just basically saying to Adam Pearce, take control of the women's division or I will. We had a quite hilarious segment with the Alpha Academy and Axel Tozawa. They're basically running down. They were trying to do some exercises. Then the New Day come in, sets up New Day versus Alpha Academy next week because Alpha Academy want the tag titles. Tozawa was doing fuck knows what with those weights in the background, but it's a hilarious backstage promo. So you might want to go out your way to watch that. And then basically we said earlier on, Gunther demands that Johnny Gargano is stretching out of the building. And then we move into the main event, which was a tag team title match, Jey Uso, Cody Rhodes against Judgment Day. And the titles change hands again, Burrows.
I know, mate. We've gone for so long for saying, oh, the titles are staying on people and they're not moving. And now we've had the tag team title passed around like a hot potato. They're obviously trying to get to something that even we haven't kind of pieced together yet. I'm guessing we'll know a little bit more on SmackDown, but obviously the Usos. I reckon they've always wanted to do Jimmy versus Jay.
Yeah,
Is
definitely.
this now how we get to it at Saudi Arabia, do you think?
Maybe. I heard they kept saying that they were trying to get it all the way to Mania without them having the match. So I don't know how they'll do that. But anyway, for those who don't know, Jimmy Uso super kicks Jey Uso. So again, their draft means fuck all.
Does Jay, here's a quick theory.
Mhm.
Do they have a match? If Jimmy wins, Roman doesn't have to face Cody. Jay wins, Cody gets a shot.
There you go. There, Mr. Booker. Booker Burrows is back, ladies and gentlemen. The creative B over there.
What a nickname. There you go, Dave. Put that in your nickname. Pipe and smoke it.
Creative Burrows, creative B. They could do. There's all sorts. I mean, we got to work out what's actually going on here because obviously Roman said last week on SmackDown to Jay that you got to make sure that Jay doesn't hold. Said last week to Jimmy to make sure that Jay's taken care of. And they don't want him walking around here with the tag titles. Well, now they're not going to be walking around with the tag team titles, but the Judgment Day are. So I know they had their truce and they had work, but are we then moving towards a Judgment Day bloodline war games at Survivor Series?
Ooh, that would be awesome. That would be, yeah. I haven't got a clue where we're going with this now, mate. At the end of Raw, I was like, okay, again, you've got to watch SmackDown now to kind of progress the story on what 2 weeks out from Saudi, 28th. Yeah, so we're 2 weeks out from Saudi. So yes. you've got to watch all of this week, all of next week, and then we'll hit Saudi. And even I think Saudi's going to leave you more questions than answers. War Games, Bloodline versus the Judgment Day would be incredible. Or do they team up somehow? Does something happen where they're together and not involved in the War Games per se match? But yeah. I don't know. I still think Jimmy and Jay are gonna. Could be at Saudi at Crown Jewel. I think they could go 1-on-1. But like you said, Roman obviously
not on the promotional poster at the minute for Survivor Series. No.
Survivor Series. Okay, so that's going to be obviously we're going to get him an LA Knight
at
Crown Jewel. So how do you how do you get into what happened at the end of Raw with the Usos and Cody, and then you move to SmackDown, you've still got to get LA Knight involved in the Roman Reigns storyline. That's where I think the Survivor Series thing will come in. That's where I think you'll have team like LA Knight, Cody, Jey Uso, and Sammy, them four.
Kevin, maybe do a 5.
Maybe 5, and then traditional Survivor Series Bloodline. Just is someone else in the bloodline, but it's brilliant. I honestly, they've done it again. You like just when someone at work said to me today, "You getting a bit bored of the bloodline story?" I'm like, you clearly haven't watched the last 2 weeks because they're flipping it 180 now. It's not the bloodline as we know it, and it's completely different. And this is why I think you're right. I think this is the Triple H effect now. Yeah. We're seeing it across all brands.
I hope so, and hopefully that will reflect well going forward as we move on to months. No Michael Cole this week on Raw either, by the way. It was Kevin.
No, he only had an actual day booked. This was booked off ages ago.
Amazing.
All these people were like, I saw on Twitter this afternoon when I was scrolling through, where was Michael Cole? What's happened? I'm like, it's his 3rd day off in like 20 odd years. Give the guy a break.
Give him a break. I'm sure he'll be back on SmackDown on Friday.
Exactly. But I thought the commentary team, what's his name? The Irish
Kevin Patrick and Wade.
You know what? I thought Kevin Patrick did really well.
He did one thing.
Okay, what did he do?
He called Wade Barrett Stu.
Stu, yes, I know.
Stu Bennett being Wade Barrett's real name, obviously not his screen name.
You wanted to keep kayfabe.
And I'm pretty sure that was when Jey Uso was doing that. He went, "Come on, Stu," and I was like, "Oh." Yeah. And I think Wade Barrett was going to make a point, and I think maybe got something in his ear, and I think he cut it off.
The guy I work with is getting sick of me doing that every time because I watch Raw on a Tuesday while we're doing an hour and a half drive.
Yep, it's time.
Yes. I kept telling him to acknowledge me today. He was saying, "Shut up and carry on doing some work." But yeah, no. We always give Raw a rating. Ads. What are you giving it this week, brother?
I'm going to say same as last week. I mean, it was 8. I think it was really solid. Not a lot really. I mean, the title change is confusing, but maybe it makes sense. That's the thing I always think at the moment is anything that's confusing at the moment. In a couple of weeks, we might be going, that's why they done it, and then it make it a lot easier. So for me, 8 out of 10. Couldn't really find a lot wrong with it, to be honest with you.
No, I'm with you. 8 out of 10, solid. Little bit here and there that was, the women's tag team thing isn't really. That's the kind of thing. But who's to say that you don't get Jade Cargill and who's coming back? Bianca Belair. Who's to say that them two wouldn't make a great tag team, by the way?
They could do.
There you go. Could be something that, but apart from that, mate, again, this has not been the third. This is something's good now going on with WWE. Raw is consistently good. As long as you're putting out consistently good product, people are going to want to watch and they're going to want to be invested. And this the Triple H effect now, where we're finally, he's got his hands fully in the cookie jar now. And he's like, right, I've got the keys to the kingdom. This is my time. Vince McMahon isn't holding me back. And I think you can slowly tell it. And who's to say people like Paul Heyman aren't more involved? I mean, we know they've tried it before with the whole Heyman and SmackDown and Bishop and Raw. Who's to say now that Heyman and Triple H and a few others aren't really putting their grasp on the product now? And it's good to see, mate. I'm invested. I can't wait for NXT. I'll watch it tomorrow. I can't wait for SmackDown. It's all good, bro.
It is all good, and we're still very busy coming up.
Dude, man, honestly,
we've got 4 consecutive shows in a row coming up.
Yeah, no,
and we've got more interviews this week. I may be joining, depending on other shows that we're recording. But you've got a big LA Knight fan coming up this week, right?
Yeah, so we've got like now working on behalf of doing some work for the WWE as well. It's the Revolution. Obviously, we were doing our ringside view shows, but we're going to have. He's coming on Thursday. If you go and check out if you're on Twitter, if you go at Revolution _ guy's got like 26k followers. He's doing his merchandise is involved with WWE now. He's started off from scratch, doing great things. We're lucky enough to have him on Thursday joining us, so that's going to be an incredible interview. We've also got I think I'm doing it tomorrow, just trying to find my inbox. Belts, Figures and More. If you're on TikTok, go and check out ads. Go and check this one out as well. Belts, Figures and More. Probably one of the best wrestling collections of titles you will ever see in your entire life. It is incredible. He's a nice guy as well. I've been speaking to him. I go and follow his channel. So he's on with us as well. We've got more ringside views lined up. I'm going to Apex. You're going to Progress this weekend. Yeah, so we've got some other companies that have reached out to us as well. I know me and Dave are I'm heading up north in November. I'm heading up to Telford to see SAW.
That's going to be a great show, by the way.
Yeah, and me and you are heading down to a certain well-known families show in Norwich, mate. Why don't you tell our listeners about that?
Yeah, so WAW. Zach, the Knights run it. They're doing this whole day event.
Day of wrestling.
Norfolk show. I don't think it's a day of wrestling. I don't know what they're doing.
Day of wrestling stuff, shall we say? We get the day to talk about wrestling.
They're doing it on the Norfolk Showground on the 18th of November. The wrestling kicks off at 7. They've got ladder matches and all sorts. Scotty 2 Hottie is going to be there. One of the guys from the Attitude Era that we know and love is going to be there. So that's going to be a great show. When I do the NWA review with Fiona, I am announcing an NWA wrestler that will be joining us at the end of the month to go through the NWA pay-per-view Samhain, and yes, he is a part of the pay-per-view as well.
Wow.
So I'll be announcing that on Thursday. I think Wrestling with Joiners has emailed us as well to try.
Yeah, we've got them coming on. I've got Luke from APW Pro Wrestling sitting down with him next Monday just to tell us all about like the more UK independent promotion. So he's coming on next Monday, APW Pro Wrestling.
Hold the phone, so we'll have another one next week. I just need to get it. Alex Gilbert has messaged me yesterday from UKPW, which if you live in Essex, you will see on Kent TV.
Kent TV? What else is on Kent TV? Reruns of Jeremy Kyle?
Well, no, but more importantly, they are.
Okay.
And I've been watching it quite recently. Funny enough, and this all happened because we had the Odyssey on not too long ago. And basically, that's where it's all started. So he should be fine for next week as well. We should get him on. So we're going to hit a lot of the UK scene. Kind of obviously Ignite now. If you want to go to Curtain Call, I'm telling you now, there is about 20 seats left.
Yeah, I had a look today. There is not many seats left.
If you're not
November
going
the 12th, Ignite in Bournemouth. If you're just come and get a ticket, you get to see a great show. Obviously, great card. You get to come and chat to me and Adam. We can talk all things hitting the turnbuckle.
Yeah. Me,
20 seats
Andy,
left.
Dave,
Oh, Crew's there.
will all be there. Dave's
Junior
dad.
Buckles are coming.
Yeah. And yeah, Junior Buckles.
My daughter, your
Junior
son, the Junior
Buckles,
Buckles can hang out. I think they might be on the pre-show side. No, I'm joking. They haven't got a match. But yeah, no, it's we're super busy. Like we said on Twitter as well, just quickly before we get out of here, because I've got to go and watch the Mighty Dunstable play. Any UK promotions that want any help with podcasting, or we can come down and review a show. We've had quite so many reach out to us, but if there are any UK promotions that want us to just help out, we're not here. We don't want to make any money out of it. We're just happy to podcasts and YouTube and tweets and whatever you need. We can come down and see a show, review it. Just reach out to us at HTT Buckle on Twitter, and we will be happy.
Same for wrestlers,
promoters, anything. Just reach out to us. If you need any help with anything at HTT Buckle, just hit us up. Myself and Adam will always be on that app answering questions.
Yeah, and I can on a WWE show. It seems pretty bad for me to do an AEW style ending. But if you
is everyone going to get up and leave, and there's going to be no one here?
No worries.
Oh, okay.
I do the signature guns up to end this.
Okay.
I can't think of a WWE exit to do. It's a weird one. I can't remember if Monsoon had a signature sign off or anything. Heenan had the pen, didn't he? You'd throw.
JR did. What did JR have? He had one, didn't he?
Did he?
So long, everybody.
Yeah, I was thinking about that.
I can't remember. Do your AEW one, mate. They've got to win something.
Okay. Well, we're back probably tomorrow and the rest of the week. But until then, everybody, guns up, buckle down, stay safe.